Welcome, Ruchi. Please start. It's live.
Yeah. Hmm. Hmm. Hello, everyone. Hello, Premji. How are you? Good to have you back. So, how are you doing?
Very good. Thank you very much. Very looking forward today.
Oh, nice. In fact, I was just thinking that though I'll be taking the bill of Delhi, though it could be very different from your country,
Yes,
I guess the basics could be the same.
yes, of course.
Hmm. Great. So, how do you have your bill otherwise? I mean, what kind of a format do you have over there?
Here, uh, the bill payment is very strange because I find that the government has a lot to play in how we structure our electricity bill. But at the same time, they are trying to give us a message that we should be responsible users of electricity.
So last
In
time I remember you were telling about the TOD. You have time of day, right?
Yes.
Billing. So you have.
But I find that though the message is quite admirable, uh, in implementation, the lessons that people should get from this, that one leaves to be desired, much to be desired. For example, individual responsibility counts a lot. It just, I mean, I think it should, like example, in my understanding, we have school going children. They should be taught in school. They also can play their part. It's not just an adult thing, you know. It can be a children thing too. For example, like my house, I will. There are three air conditioners right now here in the house, but I will not have them all running. I would want to know if there is a. We have a library downstairs as a condo there. It's fully air conditioned. All the tables, chairs are very comfortable. You can do your studies there. You can do your group discussions there. You don't have to run unnecessarily electricity here. There is provided for. I mean, it's a sense of like you want to be proactive about these things. The other aspect of electrical usage is because I understand there are many reasons the government has for this, whatever that is being told for us corporate. I mean, for us citizens to follow. We have to put on a thinking cap. Every little bit helps. Otherwise, it'll just be good publicity but poor implementation.
Very.
Then the message basis is wasted. Yeah.
Mm.
The other
Very.
thing about I've got to go to here in Malaysia. We have a place like in we the main body that supplies electricity to us is called Tenaga Nasional Berhad
Mhm.
TNB. We can go there and consult them on many issues. How do I use my things properly? What's the type of equipment I should have in the house, which saves electricity for me? I
Mm.
don't have to. I mean, there's so many things like that, and
Mm.
there should be more. I feel publicity to that. In fact,
Mm.
I go there very often to ask a lot of questions, and
Very.
uh, those people, in fact, they are wondering like, what does this man come around? Like I'm a. Sometimes they treat me with humor. Probably they also thinking this guy has nothing else to do. But I think that's the best use I can do with my time.
Yeah,
Uh,
that's a wonderful, wonderful way. I mean, if you have such kind of a body where you can go and ask your questions and where they can guide you, that's very good. And as you said, as you rightly said, that there are not many people who are really making use of it, correct?
yes,
That's why they think that you are the one who's coming. Probably you've got free time, but technically, everybody should be going with their bill and asking
yes,
that how can we really save money? And more than that, it's a total crime to, I mean, any kind of wastage is crime.
yes,
It's not really helping anyone.
yeah.
So even if, like, that kind of electricity, if it was benefiting anybody, it would have been okay. But wastage is not serving anyone, na?
Yeah.
So that's amazing. And I really get the amount of, compassion that you have for saving electricity for the environment. That's really commendable. So I really acknowledge you for that. So today I'm going to be talking a little brief about various aspects of electricity, though I am not sure how it is there in Malaysia, okay? But let's see. And as I'm talking, probably you can tell me what is correct and what is not. Like, you can tell me according to that, okay? So you'll have to give me just 1 minute. I'll just pull out PPT. Just give me 1 minute. Just sharing. Can you see the slide?
Yes.
Okay, great. So, wastage of electricity is like a leaky bucket. It's not really serving, and you just keep pouring water and it's just flowing out. And technically, this is your own money that is getting wasted, correct?
Yeah.
And
Yes.
if it is in residences, of course, it is going from your pocket. Even if it is from factories, you would see people, I mean, they face so many issues. One of the biggest issue that a person face in commercial is electricity, power. Now, how is it calculated? It is calculated in units. Okay. So we get electricity in units like 200 units, 300 units, how many units that we are consuming on a daily basis. And what is this 1 unit equal to? This is equal to 1 unit of power, that is kilowatt, into 1 hour of time. That is, so the amount of electricity that is used in the amount of power that is used in 1 hour, that is kilowatt hour, is the standard unit of electricity. That is why we call it kWh. Kilowatt hour is what the 1 unit is. That is the way we measure electricity throughout. Now, in electricity bill analysis, if you'll see, there are different kind of charges. One is the energy that you're consuming. That is the number of units that you're consuming, correct? Then there are energy charges, like on the units that you have consumed on a monthly basis. So most of the time bills are on the monthly basis. So do you also have Premji bills on the monthly basis over there?
Yeah. It's a monthly basis.
Monthly basis. Correct. So here we will see the number of units that you're producing is the energy consumed. Then there are charges which are on the energy that is consumed. Then there are fixed charges which you are bound to pay no matter what. Even if you are, you're going out and you're not using the electricity, still you will have to pay these fixed charges. So in India, the fixed charges are dependent on the sanctioned load that we have. So there is a load that is sanctioned based on the residences or the commercial premises. We have the sanction the load that we have. That means that much amount of electricity we can use. Most of the time, that is sanctioned at the time of, when the house is constructed. That is the time when they come and they do the audit, and they tell you that, okay, this is the amount of sanctioned units. These are the amount of units that you could consume over a period of 1 day. So based on that, you are given you are allowed to take the sanction load. That can vary. It's not necessary, like, if it's a 3 bedroom house or a 4 bedroom house, all of them might have the same sanction load. That also varies. That also you can differ. Like you can have as low as a 3 kilowatt in a 3 bedroom also, versus you can also have something like an 11 kilowatt or a 15 kilowatt also, depending upon how much appliances are you going to be using, for how many hours are you going to be using throughout the day. So based on that, you get this, there's a difference in the sanction load that you take from the government, from the discom, not the government primarily. Here we have the electricity which is commercialized. In some of the states in India, it is still under the scope of the government. That is why earlier also we used to have DESU, which is the Delhi Electricity State Unit, state subsidiary of Delhi. But now it is privatized, and we have over here the Rajdhani, like BACS Rajdhani, BACS Yamuna, which is basically of Reliance, and the second one is the Tata Power, owned by Tata Power, which we call as the TPDDL, right? And last, we also have NDMC, which is part of it is government owned. So over there, if I would ask in Malaysia, is it private or is it state owned?
It's quasi government owned because, first of all, the government has privatized a lot of utilities, right? Tenaga went public because the government held with the major shares because they wanted to provide investment to benefit the Malay population of Malaysia. So they felt they were lagging, so they wanted to keep them whole shares. So in Malaysia, we call it Permodalan Nasional Berhad. So that's the key thing. And I mean, it is to readdress the imbalance between the races. That's what the government says. So that is why the structure of the. So now, recently, what they've done, they've also opened up a lot of private electrical suppliers, like they are major players. They are major corporate players, in fact. So they want to lessen the load. I don't know where are we going with this. Is mostly very coal-based kind of electrical supply. Probably there's a lot of scope in future for solar. I feel that should be the way.
Yeah, I mean, because that is also, Malaysia is also a tropical country, I think. So,
Exactly.
hmm.
Yes.
So we have a lot of sun over there. So like India, there's a big time promotion, and even these discoms that I mentioned, TPDDL, BACS, BYPL, all of them now have a lot of pressure from the government that they need to go solar. They need to promote solar in their own region. So they're also doing various activities, campaigns, camps, promotion, providing subsidies, and so they're also doing a lot of initiatives, taking initiatives to promote solar. Right. So coming back to the bill here, so we have the fixed charges based on the sanction load, or we also call it as the connected load. And then we have the arrears. The arrears are something like any penalties or any errors, and you're not, so all that is like penalized and put into arrears. So now, how is the electricity bill seen? How does it made? So the energy that is consumed, normally we have a meter reading, okay? Earlier they used to come and they used to check, but now they're all having it all like smart metering. You don't need to come, and it's like online, and you can actually see it now, like slowly and slowly that system is getting converted into smart meters. Nobody needs to visit. But earlier, and even till now in many of the cases, somebody comes from the discom, these electricity departments, they come and take a reading of the units, and they subtract it from the last month's unit. So that way you get to know what is the energy that is consumed, the number of units that is consumed. And secondly are the fixed charges, which is equal to the connected load, that is the sanction load that I told you. It could be 5 kilowatt, 10 kilowatt, or whatever. And there is a fixed charge. So this fixed charge is different for residential and different for commercial. Like in commercial, it is as high as like a 250 rupees per kilowatt, and here it is less than like 25, 50. It varies. So there is a difference in the load fixed charges. So fixed charges is equal to the sanction load multiplied by the unit in which the rate in which it falls. So no matter, so you have to understand fixed charges, even if you have solar, even if you don't use it, you're not there, or you're using it, in all circumstances, you have to pay the fixed charges, right? So now if we come here, in India, what we have a difference in the, like, different categories. We have the domestic category, we have the non-domestic category, then we have the commercial, like industrial, agricultural, public utilities. So different categories are there. And based on that, there are different fixed charges. It ranging from 20 rupees per kilowatt per month per unit to as high as 250 rupees per kilowatt per month. So that is the fixed charges, right? And in Delhi specifically, first 200 units are free. And over and above 200 to 400, you're paying as much as 4 rupees 50 paisa per kilowatt per hour. Then if you're consuming more, so 400 to 800 units, you're paying 6 rupees 50 paisa. So if you'll see, the more number of units you're using, you are paying as now it's not only 8, it's come to 8.5 and more. Okay. So you tend to pay more if the number of units that you're consuming per day is higher. So that is why, what is the benefit when you go solar? The benefit is, suppose you were using 1200 units in a month, and if you are putting solar and you're able to cut down to, let's say you're able to reduce 600 units or 700 units or 800 units, you're going to remove by solar. So if you remove 800 units, you will technically fall in the slab of 200 to 400. So you would be only paying 4 rupees 50 paisa instead of 8 rupees 50 paisa. So the unit rate also gets down. That is why when you are using solar, one is of course the number of units that is getting reduced. The second that is also getting impacted is the rate, because now you're going to fall into the lower slab. Okay, so I'm not sure how it works over there in Malaysia, but this is how it works here in India. So then there are certain things, if you will see, this is the sanction load. So over there also, you would be having a sanction load. Like here it is 7 kilowatt. That means it can actually take load up to 7 kilowatt. That's what it is sanctioned for. But sometimes what happens is, you don't know, and you have, let's say, a 7 kilowatt, and you just tend to increase the number of ACs, or you put a machine that is consuming a lot of power, or it could be you're doing those kind of activities which is generating more power. Let's say there's a wedding in the house and there are a lot of lights, or those kind of consumption, or a motor or anything. So what can happen is, the consumption during that month would exceed beyond 7 kilowatt at any given point of time. Like, for example, at night, maybe if you're using all the ACs, the light and motors and everything, it is quite possible that your load would go beyond 7 kilowatt. Okay. And in this case, if it goes beyond 7 kilowatt, then what will happen is, you will have to pay a penalty for that. Okay. And this unit, like this, when it goes to, let's say, instead of 7, it is going to 9 kilowatt. Even if it goes for 1 hour, it will be taken as 9 for that whole month. Okay. So that's called the MDI, the maximum demand that is there during that particular month. That's called MDI. So technically, this MDI should be less than the sanction load. For example, in this particular bill, you'll see 7 kilowatt is the sanction load. Now this MDI is 2.34. So this is very, very important. So we were installing a solar in one of the schools, and we saw something very interesting. They had two electricity bills, okay? In one of the electricity bill, they had something like a 60 kilowatt was the sanction load, and they were barely using 10 kilowatt, 15 kilowatt. So what was happening was that though they had a higher sanction, higher the sanction load, that means the fixed charges are going to be high, because fixed charges are directly going to be depending on the number of the sanction load. So that particular school, like they were paying sanction load 250 into 600 every month for that particular meter, while they were barely consuming 15. Okay. So in that case, if you see that your MDI is very, very low, that means your consumption is very low, then what you should do is you should get your sanctioned load to be reduced. So we actually got that sanction load reduced from 60 to 20. Okay. There was another bill they were paying. Over there, the sanction load was 40 kilowatt, but they were consuming up to 60 kilowatt. So they were paying a penalty on that. The MDI was higher. So over there, what we did, we got the sanction load to be enhanced from 40 to 60 because of the consumption. So that is very, very important. That's what we call the MDI, because the penalty is as high as 150%. So you don't want to end up paying the penalty. So one of the important things that you need to see is what is the MDI. That should be less than the sanction load, and ideally up to 80% is something that should be the lowest. Like for example, if it is 7 kilowatt, then 6, 5.5 should be something that they should be consuming at the most, because you will see in summers the MDI will go when you're using a lot of air conditioning. Okay, in winters, when if you're using heaters and geysers, again it'll go up. But there could be a month in between where you're neither using the geyser nor you're using the air conditioner. So that time the MDI would be less. All right. Then there's something called the power factor. Now, power factor is very, very important. It's like, okay, let's move forward first. So the key aspects of high electricity bill is the MDI, the maximum demand that I said, and the second is the power factor. MDI, I have explained. Like if it is 45 sanction load, MDI is 60, you're actually paying like the approved load is 100. And extra load that you're using is 50. Total load is 150. So you will land up paying a penalty of 16,250 just because you're using that extra load. So what is really important is you should know the profiling, the whole, and as I told you, summer, winter, everything is going to be different. So you need to see the whole month's the whole year's consumption that you're doing. Based on that, you should get your sanction load changed. If not, you just need to see if it is what you're consuming is very less compared to what your MDI is, you should get it reduced. So this is the power factor. It's like a glass of mug of beer. If you'll see A and then you B, Premji, can you tell me in which glass would you get more value for your money?
I would say,
Definitely, because there is less froth and you're getting more beer, correct?
yeah.
That's what exactly what power factor is. So this is the power factor. This you'll be charged for this full glass, that is the demand power, but the useful power is just this much beer, and this is the wasted power. Okay, this happens when there are some leakages or something in your electrical circuit, which is called the capacitors. They get weakened, and because of that, you tend to draw more power. So that could be machineries, especially power load. Okay, like iron, you're using those kind of motors who are ball bearings have worn out. So if you're using or even for that matter those fans, that those they make the creaky sound and all that kind of appliances, that is why they say go for that 5-star rating appliances. This is the one of the reasons that you would be actually able to reduce the electricity consumption over there and get the full benefit. So here also there's a wasted power and then there's a useful power. So power factor is nothing
Thank
but
you. I'm on the.
so so over there also.
Yeah, same thing here.
Okay, same thing over there also it must be happening. So
Yeah.
power factor is actually the ratio of true power, that is in kilowatts, to the apparent power, that is kVA. So if you don't want to get into too much the technical, all you need to see in your bill is what is written in kW and what is written as kV. So you would have in both and you need to divide. Now this power factor should be ideally 1. Okay, if it is less than 1, then what's going to happen is like this is one of our client, and we actually went to his factory. Okay, and we saw this power factor. So the true power, there was a difference of the power factor was 0.85. That means that he is actually wasting 15% of power. So he's paying 15% of bill for nothing, for that just froth and the beer. Okay, so we helped him to get an automatic power factor corrector, APFC that we call it. And after having that, he was able to get his power factor to 0.99. And that way, he was able to actually save a lot of, close to 2 lakh rupees annually just by having that small corrector. So you can also check in your bill if you have this power factor thing. What does it written in kW? What is written in kVA? kW divided by kVA is the power factor. This we most often see in commercial versus the residential, but one should be aware of what it is. Right? Then I hope it's making sense.
That makes sense because even though I stay in a condo here,
Hmm.
I stay basically in a commercially based residence. There's a lot of electricity being used here and there, water charges. So I know that I'm paying commercial rate. I'm not paying domestic rate as per se. If I was staying in a house, in a home, residential area, the charges will be different. Here, because I stay in a so-called opulent place, I have to pay the extra, the premium.
Okay.
Again, that I can't help because I have my reasons for staying here. Uh, for the time being, I have to stay here. But later on, I will go back to my residence. Not in a high rise. It'll be a domestic. That's where I want to look into solar. Uh,
Very good. So there are other ways also where you can actually cut costs and wipe the losses. And that could be, you can replace all your fixtures with LEDs, which normally I think most of the people are doing right now. Okay. And then if you have motors, commercial, you should install VFDs. Those are variable frequency drivers. Then switch to BLDC, brushless DC fans. They consume just 30 watt of power versus the other earlier ones which used to use 100 watt of power. Instead of 100 using 30, you're saving 70 watt per hour. So that's a good amount of electricity that you can save. Try not to use rewound motors. Normally, we tend to be penny wise and pound foolish. We don't want to spend a lot of money thinking we don't want a new one, and we get up rewounding the motors, but technically that's doing harm because you're paying more bills, right? Then using insulation wherever there is heat and cold transfers. Imagine having an AC on and with the door open. What happens is you're just wasting power again over there, right? So you should just similarly for heat also. You should just try to have insulation as much as possible. Then profiling and finding of high energy guzzlers. You should really see that. And that's very simple. You could also, even if you're normally a resident and you don't have any technical devices, you could just switch off all the appliances in your home and look at the meter. Okay. And then just switch on the meter, the gadgets. which are you think are high energy consumption, you can see how fast the meter is rotating, moving. So that also will tell you which are the high energy guzzlers that you have. And as I mentioned last time, also setting the temperature of the AC around 24 to 27 degrees. Check the filters of your AC on a regular basis. If there is a lot of dust, there's going to be difficulty. Similarly, in solar, try to keep it as clean as you can. The more clean it is, the better it is. Then we vamp powers. I had explained, those are ghost powers. What do you mean here is like we have, for example, the television. We normally just switch it off by the remote, and we don't switch it off from the main unit. That's what for the we just have those chargers also plugged on to our switchboards, and it is most of the time it's on. So they are also kind of consuming. There is a leakage of power that's happening, though it can be very small, but वो कहते हैं ना बूंद बूंद से घड़ा भरता है. So that even the trickle charge is also very important. You're just wasting power. So above all, schedule minimum 1 hour at least a month to understand your electricity bill and measure the different parameters. What all you can do, did you do last time? Basically you're the best judge. You would get to know what differently you are doing. So that's something that you can do. Internet of Things, I think I can leave for right now. So this was basically on solar, and I think for now, I think this is enough. These are some of the installations we have. Net meter, and so this is the electricity, the meter, as I was just mentioning. And that will not make sense to you because you have a different kind of yeah. So that's, I think, most important is that you need to just have that kind of a mindset where you are in that saving domain, when you're really thinking of saving. Because I have other things also, the surcharges and everything, but that's very India specific. So I think I'll stop here. I think this is something that could benefit you also. And that's why I'm just taking on this much in the electricity bill for today. Any questions?
Yeah, I want to share something.
Hmm.
When I moved into these premises, I observed that the washing machine came with the condo, so did the refrigerator. I saw the star ratings were very, very promising, and I realized that the upkeep of these machines are important. For example, if we consider, okay, we have a fridge, we think, oh, why should I check the gas level inside? We must check the gas level, because if a gas level is not proper, in the long run, we lose. It does not
Absolutely.
work optimally. And the other thing is the washing machine. It has, of course, heating inside and all that, but it's still a star-rated washing machine. I found out that these products are mostly from China, and more so because this area was developed by a major developer from China called Country Garden, one of the world's huge, huge multinational thing. Uh, so in China, they are very concerned about electricity usage because it supports a huge population. So when they brought the stuff here, I realized that it was meant to be used properly. Like my washing machine, I make sure that I don't simply uh, use unnecessarily. If I can do something with the 15-minute load, I'll do it. And I don't have to put too much of clothes inside. I can pre-soak them first, and I can use a lighter load to wash. It's like that. And I find there is a lot of saving because washing machines use a lot of electricity, and that way, and then cleaning the washing machine is very important because if you keep it clean, there'll be less lint to remove from the clothes, and ironing is done better. That kind of stuff. Yeah.
Very
And
nice.
even my iron is the type that saves electricity. A lot of steaming there, but it's star rated also. That is not something that everybody looks forward. They just can be used, they use. And they somehow they'll complain about the bills. And I feel no, we can do something here. But my neighbors and I, we don't see eye to eye on all this. I go to management and talk to them about this thing. They are bored. This man comes around asking all kind of weird questions. But I'm just trying to inquire because we have a lot of units here. Because these spaces, we are actually Singapore and I. We are just as a boundary here. There's a lot of expansive water here, and the man-made beaches here. So one of the reasons I stayed here was because lots of water means less pollution for me. So in town, in the city itself, is very polluted.
Very
Uh,
polluted. Just like
so
Delhi. Mm.
yeah,
I think
what?
nothing compares to Delhi.
Mm.
Malaysia is still much less.
I mean,
True.
I've stayed this in various parts of India and in Mumbai. I've been there to experience what really goes on, both the country and the town, the urban and suburban areas. Big difference.
Big difference.
Yeah, yeah.
Mm. So very nice. It was really nice to interact with you, to know your perspective. And I
Thank
really think in the lastly, it is just the mindset. If
yeah,
you are up to it, like you'll really not waste. And slowly you'll understand the power of
yeah.
savings.
Yeah. Ruchi, one more thing that Premji mentioned, like, many of the current recent gadgets have this star rating, like, 5 star is like good efficiency. But many of the appliances that you mentioned about motors or fans, I'm not
Mhm.
sure if they also have got those kind of ratings or something because for
Most of them are now BIS approved and they have the star ratings now. Most of them.
okay, okay.
So they have that's written on the back, the electricity consumption. So
Okay.
that way you can choose.
Because usually now everyone shops online, so
Huh.
not everything is so
Transparent, huh? That's true.
it's
Some
trans-
of those Chinese ones that you see, which are really cheap and then they're just in packaged and you
Mhm.
don't know what it is, then you really don't know. And most likely they you would be actually it'll end up you would be consuming far more electricity than it's meant to be.
Yeah, yeah. Mm. So we have to be more mindful of that. And you made us aware about a few more appliances that we can be careful about.
Yeah, Shabana.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Ruchi. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
And
Bye.
see you all